Hello guys, we're going to talk about poker strategy today. The initial idea here was to talk about a session review, and I've been thinking about how to do that. I don't think it's great to just look at Hold'em Manager and filter out some things, because the general problem with reviewing sessions is how to think about them, how to think about hands, how to look at your own play, and how to select hands that might be interesting. So that is what I'm going to try to show you, how I do that. The general theme is to structure your mind, and we're going to get right into that little, what's that thing called there, which makes everything bigger? I don't know. So this one, yeah. So there's balance in there, and there's value in there. And balance is what we start with. Balance is what everybody has been starting with regarding poker for the last couple of years, and it probably isn't as prominent anymore. Rightly so. Balance seems to be a fairly empty word. It just claims to say that we can have all kinds of things, but it really doesn't say anything about EV or value or frequencies. So just because I can possibly have a good hand in a certain spot really doesn't make me balanced. A very easy example is that if somebody 3-bets a range that can have a straight on a certain board texture occasionally, when I call the 3-bet, I'm still not going to care, because as long as he doesn't have the straight 95% of the time, he can talk about balance as much as he wants, and I'm still going to bluff raise profitably. So we are going to try and find out about the value of balance and how we can structure all this to really get into Ivey, to get into EV. See, I said Ivey, so maybe those two have something to do with each other. Okay, so let's talk about value. And the first thing is that balance for itself doesn't mean anything. I already said that. Let's assume that we check a certain texture with strong hands. Why do we do that? To balance. So I would say that I'm balancing my check folding range by check calling some strong hands. Yeah, that's kind of nice. The problem is, by the turn, everybody knows what's up, right? Because, well, I didn't check fold, so yeah, like, now my weak hands are gone, my strong hands are still in there, and I'm not balanced. I just was balanced when I checked the flop. I wasn't balanced when I called the bet. So perception is actually way more important, because if I do that and somebody thinks that I'm still weak on the turn, then that is what's going to make me money. And obviously I also forgot about those borderline hands. So if somebody thinks that I can still check call the flop with borderline hands, knowing that I also do that with strong hands, then he is going to play incorrectly against that. But what some people do is they check the flop with strong hands for balance, but they actually bet their borderline hands. So suddenly that what happens is exactly what I just described, and it's not that tough to spot that. So we want to achieve perceived balance, and we also want to think about the implications on our ranges. So if you watch a video and the guy says that he checks here to be balanced, or he bets to be balanced, then you really should be asking him a lot about that. What he should be saying is, you know, I'm checking here because my entire checking range is going to gain value by doing this, and my betting range is still going to be fine. Let's open Card Runner TV. I'm going to show you. Most people don't do that, but it is what they should be doing, and it is what really it's the only thing that makes sense. So if you review, that is what you have to think about. You should, if you check pocket kings on Queen 10 deuce, then open up Poker Stove or open up whatever program you have and look at your betting range, because you are going to be betting a lot of bluffs, a lot of semi-bluffs, a lot of fairly weak hands, and you just took out king-king. So maybe your reasoning didn't have anything to do with balance. It was some kind of exploitation, or it was you were, you know, saying that he still perceives your betting range to include those overpairs, even if you check them sometimes. And purpose is pretty much what you need, and purpose in poker is EV. Balance should always have a purpose, and against good thinking players, which is mainly what we're talking about here. Every purpose creates balance.